Hi, I'm Josh, and wow, do I have a story for you. It's about how my girlfriend's birthday spiraled into a complete disaster. I don't even know where to begin. My head is still reeling from everything that happened. So, I'm 25 and work as a graphic designer at a small agency downtown. It's a pretty great job that lets me flex my creative muscles. I've been dating Saya for around 8 months now. She's 22 and studies marine biology at the local university. She has these stunning hazel eyes that light up whenever she talks about sea creatures. Honestly, it's adorable. We met at a coffee shop near campus. I was working on a project and she accidentally spilled her latte all over my sketchbook. Talk about a classic meet cute, right? We hit it off immediately, bonding over our shared love for indie music and cheesy sci-fi movies. Things were going really well. We'd go on fun dates, spend time at each other's places, the usual couple stuff. But there was always this one thing that bugged me a bit. Sia's group of close friends from high school. They're practically inseparable. Sometimes it feels like they're attached at the hip. There's Amy, the loud one, who's always organizing their next outing. Zoe, the quiet artist type, who, according to Saya, gives the best advice. And Rachel, who always seemed to have some unspoken issue with me, though I could never figure out why. Don't get me wrong, I think it's great that she's so close with them, but sometimes it felt like they were always around. Like we'd be on a date and she'd be texting them constantly, or we'd plan a weekend together, only for their plans to suddenly take priority. It was starting to wear on me, but I tried to ignore it. I didn't want to be the kind of guy who comes between a girl and her friends. Anyway, Sia's birthday was coming up, and I wanted to do something really special. One lazy Sunday morning, we were lying in bed chatting when she mentioned how she'd always dreamed of going to the beach with her boyfriend. Her eyes got all dreamy as she described this perfect scene, walking hand in hand along the shore, watching the sunset together, all that romantic stuff. That's when I decided that's exactly what I'd do for her birthday. I spent months planning a surprise trip. I found this amazing little beach town about 3 hours away with a picturesque boardwalk and charming shops selling seashells and saltwater taffy. I booked a cozy Airbnb right on the beach where you could step straight onto the sand. I was thrilled. You have no idea how excited I was. I planned every little detail. I even arranged a private painting class on the beach with a local artist, thinking it'd be perfect. Sincere love. I couldn't wait to see her reaction. But just a few days before her birthday, everything fell apart. We were at my place watching a movie when she casually mentioned, "Oh, by the way, my friends have been planning a big birthday party for me for weeks. We're celebrating together like we do every year." I was stunned, trying to keep my jaw from hitting the floor. I mean, come on. It's our first birthday as a couple. Doesn't that mean something? My heart sank as all my carefully laid plans started crumbling. I tried to play it cool and said, trying to keep my voice steady, "Babe, I've been planning something special for months. Can't you reschedule with your friends?" That did not go over well. She got defensive, saying I was being unreasonable and that her friends had put in so much effort. "It's just one birthday, Josh," she said, her voice rising. "We can do something together, another time." We went back and forth, and I could feel my frustration growing. It wasn't just about the trip anymore. It was about feeling like I always came second to her friends, like our relationship didn't matter as much as her bond with them. In the end, I gave up. I didn't even tell her about the trip. I just cancelled everything. The Airbnb, the painting class, all of it. Each cancellation felt like a punch to the gut. All that planning, all that excitement, gone in just a few clicks. When her birthday came, she was off partying with her friends, and I was sitting at home, feeling like a third wheel in my own relationship. I kept checking my phone, half hoping she'd text me, and half dreading the photos of her having a great time without me. The next day she came over. I was still feeling pretty raw, but tried to put on a happy face. "Did you have a good time?" I asked. She lit up, excitedly recounting how Amy got their matching t-shirts, Zoe made an amazing cake, and Rachel organized a scavenger hunt around town. Then, wouldn't you know it, a cancellation confirmation popped up on my phone while she was looking at it. It was for the beach house. Her eyes widened as she read it, and I could see the confusion on her face. "Josh," she said slowly, "what's this about a beach house?" I froze. This was definitely not how I wanted her to find out. I stumbled over my words, trying to explain, but it all came out wrong. And then, oh man, you should have seen her face. She went from confused to furious in about 2 seconds flat. "You planned a trip and didn't tell me," she yelled, her voice rising. "And then you just cancelled it? What the hell, Josh?" I tried explaining how hurt I'd felt, but it turned into this massive argument. Words were flying, emotions were high. I told her she needed to figure out how to balance her friendships and our relationship. I mean, what's going to happen if we get engaged or married? Is she going to run to her friends every time we need to make a decision? I might have taken it a bit too far. When I mentioned that she relied too much on her friends emotionally, it completely set her off. Her face turned bright red, and I could see tears forming in her eyes. "You don't get to decide who I rely on," she snapped. "My friends have been there for me long before you came along, and they'll still be there after you're gone." Ouch, that hurt. She stormed out of my apartment in tears, slamming the door behind her. The sound echoed in the room, leaving an overwhelming silence in its place. I just stood there, my heart pounding, wondering if I had really messed up this time. The rest of the day passed in a haze. I kept replaying the argument in my head, thinking of all the things I could have said differently. That night, I barely slept, tossing and turning, my mind racing with endless what-ifs and maybes. By the next day, there was nothing but silence. I checked my phone repeatedly, hoping for a message from Sia, but there was absolutely nothing. Honestly, I felt torn. A part of me wanted to apologize, to fix things, to call her and say, "Hey, I'm sorry. Let's work this out." But another part of me thought, "Dude, you didn't do anything wrong. Stick to your guns." In the end, I chose the latter. After all, I'd put so much effort into planning something special for her, and she just dismissed it for her friends. That wasn't okay, right? Still, it was tough. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart would jump, thinking it might be her. But it never was. As the day dragged on, my frustration grew. I started scrolling through social media, and that's when things took an even stranger turn. I noticed some of Sia's friends had blocked me. Like seriously, and the ones who hadn't, blocked me were posting vague dramatic quotes, the kind that screamed passive aggressiveness. You know, stuff like "true friends stick together" and "boys come and go, but sisters are forever." Give me a break. The worst part was that they were acting like Sia was some tragic hero. It was so frustrating because I knew they knew the full story. I had told Sia everything, and I was sure she told them, but they were treating me like some villain who had deliberately ruined her birthday. It made me wonder, could her friends be jealous of our relationship? I mean, they've been close since high school, and then I came into the picture, and suddenly Sia was spending less time with them. Maybe they wanted to push her to break up with me. The thought made me feel sick. Even with all this drama, I still wanted to work things out with Sia. I cared about her so much, but I was also bracing myself for the worst. If she decided to end things because of her friends, I'd have to accept it. At least I'd know I stayed true to myself. Still, it was hard not to replay everything in my head, wondering if I could have handled things differently. Should I have told her about the trip sooner? Should I have been more understanding about her wanting to celebrate with her friends? I honestly didn't know. What I did know was that this situation made me realize just how much influence her friends had on her decisions, and I wasn't sure how I felt about that. I mean, having close friends is great, but shouldn't your partner come first sometimes? All I could do was wait to see what would happen. Maybe Sia would come around, and we'd talk it out like adults. Or maybe this was the start of the end for us. Either way, I was trying to stay strong and not let it get to me, but between you and me, this whole thing sucked. A lot. I felt like I was trapped in this weird limbo, unsure if I should fight for our relationship or just let it go. And the silence from Sia, it was unbearable. I never thought I'd miss her constant texting this much. I kept thinking about all the great moments we'd shared. Our first date at that quirky taco place downtown. The time we got caught in the rain and ended up dancing in the street. The quiet nights cuddling on the couch and laughing at terrible movies with awful special effects. Was all of that over now because of one stupid fight about a birthday? It felt so trivial when I thought about it like that, but at the same time it seemed like this massive, unfixable issue. I didn't know what would happen next, but I did know this whole mess had taught me a lot about relationships, communication, and even myself. I just hoped it wasn't too late to put those lessons into practice with Sia. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Confused, hurt, and honestly a little scared. But hey, that's life, right? Sometimes it throws curveballs and all you can do is try your best to hit them out of the park. Or at least not strike out entirely. Wish me luck. I think I'm going to need it. Now, let me give you Sia's side of things. Hey, it's Sia here. So, things have been pretty intense lately. I guess I should catch you up on everything that's been going on. It's been 3 days since that huge fight with Josh. 3 long, confusing days. I've spent most of that time with my friends, Amy, Zoe, and Rachel. They've been trying to cheer me up, saying I deserve better and that Josh was being a jerk. But honestly, something about it all felt off. Don't get me wrong, I love my friends. We've been through so much together. But as they kept bad-mouthing Josh, I started feeling this strange knot in my stomach. Yeah, I was mad at him, but hearing them tear him apart just didn't feel right. Then Rachel suggested something that completely threw me off. You should go out with that cute guy from your marine bio class, she said. Make Josh jealous. I was stunned. What? No way, I told her. But she kept pushing, saying it would teach Josh a lesson. That's when it hit me. These girls, my best friends since forever, were actually encouraging me to hurt someone I cared about. It was like I was seeing them in a new light, and I didn't like what I saw. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Josh, my friends, and everything that had happened. And you know what? I realized I'd really messed up. So this morning, I did something crazy. I went to the store, bought flowers and chocolates, and showed up at Josh's door. You should have seen his face when he opened it. Confusion, hope, and weariness all mixed together. I'm sorry, I blurted out before he could say a word. I'm so sorry. We ended up talking for hours. I told him everything, how my friends had reacted and about their ridiculous suggestion to make him jealous. I could see the pain in his eyes, but I also saw relief. I get it now, I said. I've been taking you for granted, always putting my friends first, but that's not fair, to you or to us. Josh listened, really listened, and when I finished, he hugged me so tightly I could barely breathe. I'm sorry too, he said. I should have told you about the trip instead of just canceling it. We're not perfect, and we still have things to figure out, but we'll get through it." He smiled and added, "We're still going to take that beach trip after all." As for my friends, I knew I had a lot to think about, but at that moment, I was just relieved that Josh and I were okay. Better than okay, actually. It felt like we might be stronger than ever. So, remember that beach trip Josh had planned? We ended up going through with it, and let me tell you, it was absolutely incredible. Probably the best weekend of my life. We drove to this charming little beach town, and the entire way there, we sang along to our favorite songs with the windows rolled down and the wind messing up our hair. It felt like we were living in some cheesy romantic comedy, but I loved every second of it. The Airbnb Josh had booked was amazing, right on the beach where we could hear the waves from the bedroom. That first evening, we strolled along the shore, holding hands and talking about everything and nothing. It was as though all the drama from before had melted away. The next day, Josh surprised me with a painting class on the beach. We sat there, trying to capture the sunset on canvas, laughing at how bad our attempts were. My seagulls looked more like flying blobs, and Josh's waves resembled mountains. But it didn't matter. It was just fun being goofy together, not worrying about how good we were at painting. That evening, we went to a cozy seafood shack on the pier. The fish was freshly caught. The sound of waves lapped underneath, and string lights twinkled overhead. It was magical. Josh looked at me from across the table and said, "I'm so glad we did this." I realized then that I was too. More than glad, I was truly happy. On our last day, we decided to go for a swim. The water was freezing, but we didn't care. We splashed around like kids, trying to dunk each other and laughing until our sides hurt. As we packed up to leave, I felt a pang in my chest. I didn't want the weekend to end. It had been like a little bubble, just me and Josh, away from all the noise and drama. On the drive home, I scrolled through the photos we'd taken. There were so many great ones. Us on the beach, our ridiculous paintings, selfies with ice cream. Without really thinking, I posted a few on Instagram with the caption, "Best weekend ever." I didn't expect it to cause drama, but boy was I wrong. It started with a text from Amy. "Having fun without us?" Complete with an eye roll emoji. At first I thought she was joking, but then Zoe chimed in. "Guess we know where we stand now." And Rachel? She went straight for the attack. "Wow, ditching your real friends for some guy. Classy." I was stunned. I tried explaining that it was just a weekend trip, that I wasn't abandoning anyone, but they wouldn't hear it. The messages kept coming, each nastier than the last. "You've changed," Amy wrote. The old Sylvia would never have done this. Zoe, usually the quiet one, shocked me the most. "We've been there for you through everything. How could you just throw that away?" And Rachel? She went straight for the jugular. "He's going to hurt you, and when he does, don't come crying to us. You made your choice." I felt like I was being attacked from all sides. These were my best friends. The girls I'd shared everything with for years, and now they were turning on me over a weekend trip with my boyfriend? My hands shook as I showed the messages to Josh. He looked furious, but tried to stay calm for my sake. "This is ridiculous," he said, pulling me into a hug. "You haven't done anything wrong." But it didn't stop there. They started leaving passive-aggressive comments on my Instagram post. Then they took it to their own profiles, posting things about fake friends and sisters before misters. Seriously, Rachel, are we in high school? It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Years of friendship were unraveling over something so petty. I tried calling each of them, hoping to talk it out, but they either ignored my calls or hung up on me. Finally, I'd had enough. I sent a group text. If you can't be happy for me, if you can't accept that I have a life outside of our friendship, then maybe we shouldn't be friends anymore. I love you guys, but this isn't healthy. And you know what? They took me up on it. Amy left the group chat first, then Zoe. Rachel stayed long enough to type, "Bye, traitor," before she left too. Just like that, it was over. Years of friendship and countless memories gone in the blink of an eye. That night, I cried harder than I had in a long time. Josh held me as I sobbed into his shirt. "It's okay," he kept saying. "It's going to be okay." And maybe he's right. It hurts now, like hell, but maybe this is what I needed. Maybe I had to let go of them to really grow up and have a healthy adult relationship. Still, as I lie here scrolling through old photos of us together, I can't help but wonder, is this really the end? Or is it the start of something new? It's been a week since the fallout with my friends, and things have only gotten worse. At first, I tried giving them space, hoping they'd calm down so we could talk, but instead, they ramped things up. It started with more passive-aggressive posts about loyalty and friendship. A real friend would never choose a guy over her sisters, and other nonsense like that. I ignored it at first, but then things got ugly. They started spreading rumors about me around campus. I'd walk into class and notice people staring or hear whispers as I passed. It felt like high school drama, but worse. The breaking point came when I found out they'd created a hate page about me online. They were posting old, embarrassing photos, sharing private conversations we'd had, and twisting everything to make me look awful. I was devastated. These were the girls who knew my deepest secrets, my hopes, my fears. And now they were using it all against me. I showed the page to Josh, and he was livid. "This is harassment," he said. "We should report them, maybe even get a lawyer." But the thought of taking legal action against them made me feel sick. After all, these were still the girls I'd grown up with. That's when I had an idea, a wild, probably terrible idea, but an idea nonetheless. I chose to fight fire with fire. I went back through our old group chats because, honestly, my friends weren't exactly innocent themselves. Over the years, we'd all said things we regretted, gossiped about others, made cruel jokes about classmates behind their backs. Looking back, I know it wasn't right, but at the time it felt like harmless girl talk. So I took screenshots, lots of them. Every piece of gossip, every snarky remark. Then I posted them all. I tagged every person they'd ever spoken about, exposing all the secrets they'd shared in confidence. I revealed every toxic thing that had been bubbling under the surface of our friendship for years. It was total annihilation, scorched earth. The fallout was immediate and explosive. People were stunned, angry, and hurt. My former friends were suddenly in damage control mode, scrambling to explain themselves. But the proof was there for everyone to see. There was no denying it. I'm not proud of what I did. It was petty, vindictive, and dramatic. But in that moment, it felt like the only way to defend myself. I wanted everyone to know the truth about who these girls really were. The aftermath was pure chaos. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing with messages. Some supportive, some furious, and some from people apologizing for believing the lies about me. Amy, Zoe, and Rachel tried to fight back. They sent me threatening texts, vowing to make my life miserable if I didn't delete the posts. But I refused. I told them straight up that if they kept coming after me, I had more screenshots to share. It felt like a dam had burst. Years of pent-up resentment, jealousy, and petty grievances from our friendship poured out all at once. It was messy, painful, and downright ugly. But it was also liberating. For the first time, I felt like I was standing up for myself, instead of just going along with whatever my friends wanted. Josh was blown away. "I had no idea you had it in you," he said, his voice a mix of admiration and concern. Neither did I admitted. In the end, we made the decision to block them everywhere, on social media, on our phones, everywhere. It was time to move on and leave all this high school level drama behind for good. It hasn't been easy though. There are times when I miss them, when I instinctively reach for my phone to send Amy a funny meme or call Zoe for advice. But then I remember everything that happened and I know I made the right choice. Now, Josh and I are focusing on our relationship. We're working on building something strong and healthy together. We're even planning another beach trip, this time with some of our other friends, the ones who stood by us through all the drama. As for Amy, Zoe, and Rachel, I truly hope they learn and grow from this. I hope they become better people. But that's not my responsibility anymore. I'm looking forward now, not back. Starting over like this, rebuilding my social circle from scratch, is scary. But it's also exciting. I feel lighter, freer, like I can finally be myself without worrying about living up to someone else's expectations. So yeah, this whole experience has been a roller coaster, but I wouldn't change a thing. Sometimes you have to weather the storm to appreciate the rainbow on the other side. And me? I'm ready for whatever comes next. What a ride this has been. When I planned that surprise beach trip for Sylvia's birthday, I never could have predicted it would lead to so much drama. But honestly, I think we're better for it. Watching Sylvia stand up to her toxic friends and choose our relationship took so much courage. We're in a great place now. No more friend drama, just us focusing on each other and what's ahead. We're even planning another beach getaway soon. I guess sometimes you have to endure the chaos to truly enjoy the peace. And with Sylvia by my side, I feel ready to face whatever comes next. Hey everyone, if you liked this crazy relationship story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more juicy Reddit drama. Share this with your friends and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Your support means everything to us.